Last time we discussed some problems which face us as language teachers when we teach pronunciation, right? What were they? Let's summarize them. Yes, I have a question here. When will the lectures be on the site? They are already there, and here is the site. Of course, you write HTTP. Okay, you know this? Colon www, World Wide Web. Then YouTube, so it's on the youtube.com/mansview. Okay? So you can review the lectures on this site. So let's summarize what we said last week. Number one, the interference of the mother tongue forms or makes pronunciation difficult, or makes pronunciation different. Not only difficult, different. So the interference of the mother tongue. Give me examples of the interference of the mother tongue. Who can give me examples to show that the interference of the mother tongue can cause a problem in pronunciation? The P and the B. The P and the B. You all know this word. What's this? Bark. What's bark? The sound of the dog. And this one? So if you want to leave your car and you tell somebody, I want to, instead of saying park here, you will say, I want to bark here. You'll say, go ahead and bark. I'm not preventing you. Go ahead and do it. So this is bark and this is park. This is an example of the interference of the mother tongue that can create some problem in understanding. Okay? What else? Yes. Very good. Very good. The existence of some phonemes in English that do not have similar counterparts in Arabic, like the the. Also, I forgot to tell you that some phonemes in English, although they have similar counterparts in Arabic, but although they are similar, they are different. How? The R, for example, the R phoneme, the re. In Arabic, how do we say the re? No, the tip of the tongue goes up and touches the palate. Re. This is Arabic re. Rabb, Rahman, Rahim. The tip of the tongue goes up and it hits or touches the palate. In English, the tip of the tongue goes up but does not touch the palate. We say great, great. We don't say great. If it is great, this is Arabic pronunciation, but it should be great, great, re. So those of you who cannot say the Arabic re, they are saying it correct English. Understand? Also the te. The te in Arabic is dental. You say tamr. Tamr. It's dental. It's purely dental. The tip of the tongue goes between the upper teeth and the lower teeth. Tamr. Tamr. Te. But in English, it's alveolar dental. We say tree. Tree. So the tip of the tongue goes here, goes to the upper tongue. It's not between the two teeth. So the places of articulation in the similar sounds are different from Arabic to English. So if you are saying the sounds in an Arabic way, you will be making what? Accent. You are speaking or pronouncing the sounds with the accent. And that's why I gave you the rule last time about no two sounds from two different languages are exactly what? The same. Even if they look similar. Even if the T in Arabic, we have the T in Arabic and we have T in English, but they are not the same in the place of pronunciation. We have the R in Arabic and we have the R in English, but they are not the same. So you have to be careful when you teach. So this is a very important phenomena that we should not compare sounds from two different languages. Okay? What else? What other difficulty? What's your name? May. Generally, we don't have silent letters in English. In Arabic, sorry. We don't have silent letters. We say generally. We should say generally. We have some silent letters in Arabic, like the lunar le and the solar le, lam shamsiyya wa lam al-qamariyya. We have ash-shams. The L is silent. Ash-shams. The L here is silent. But this is very rare in Arabic. But in English, English is plagued. As I told you before, English is plagued with silent letters. And this forms a major problem. Very good. What else? Stress is also a big problem between Arabic and English, simply because in Arabic we tend to stress which part? The last part. And in English, usually the first part. There are some exceptions that you all should know. There is a nice chapter or part in the book about stress rules. I would like you, or I advise you to read this part because it addresses the difference between the stress in English and the stress in Arabic. So when you pronounce new words, you should bear this in mind. Okay? Understand? What else? Yes. Clustering. Clustering also is a serious problem that many students, when they pronounce the English words, they fall into. And we discussed clustering. What do we mean by clustering? Inserting a vowel between consonants. When you insert a vowel between consonants, this is a clustering problem. A cluster means a group of sounds, consonant sounds that happen together. Of course, this is also a problem. So we have 5 major problems. Each one of these problems we have a remedy for, right? So what's the major remedies for all these problems? Tell me some remedies. Minimal pairs, drills, modeling, minimal pairs, modeling, repetitive drills. What else? How can we solve these problems? A clustering problem, how can we solve it? Through modeling. Stress, how can we solve it? I told you, we have 3 techniques for explaining the stress. Underlining, capital letters, or big O and small o. This is in stress. Okay? Any other question? Yes, do you have a question? Well, the accent is a problem if you are an oral advocate approach. If you are an advocate means supporter of. If you are a supporter of the oral approach, the accent is a problem. Because the oral approach people believe that we should strive for native-like pronunciation. So the aim of the people who believe in the oral approach is to create learners who enjoy native-like pronunciation. Native-like means similar to the native speaker. When we say native-like pronunciation, a pronunciation which is very close to the native speakers. Native-like pronunciation means what? A pronunciation which is very close or identical to the native speakers. Of course, we cannot we cannot produce speakers who are exactly like native speakers, simply because the interference of the mother tongue. The interference of the mother tongue creates problem and causes the accent, as I explained to you. So the people of the oral approach try or do their best to eliminate the pronunciation errors and produce learners who speak the language almost like what? Native speakers. But the communicative approach says no, accent is welcome. They welcome the accent because usually no matter how hard you work at the accent, it's still there. So they are very realistic. The communicative approach is very realistic when it comes to accent. They welcome the accent and they say no problem if the person or if the learner speaks the language with an accent. This is not something to be ashamed of. So an accent is something not to be ashamed of where? In the communicative approach. But accent is something to be ashamed of where? In the oral approach. In the grammar translation, they don't care because pronunciation is completely neglected, ignored, okay? De-emphasized. Pronunciation in the grammar translation approach is completely de-emphasized. De-emphasized means neglected or ignored, okay? So, it depends on your discretion, your judgment. Do you like your students to have accent or not? If not, then you are an oral approach advocate. If you are okay, if you tolerate the accent, then you are a communicative approach advocate. Advocate means what? Supporter. Okay? Advocate means supporter. Okay, when we teach pronunciation, we look at two features. Something called segmental features and another category which is supra-segmental features. So what are the features of teaching pronunciation? Segmental and supra-segmental. Can you write segmental? And the other one is supra. Okay, so we have segmental features and supra-segmental features. The segmental features refer to teaching consonants and vowels. Teaching consonants and vowels. The segmental features refer to introducing consonants and vowels. Okay? The supra-segmental features is concerned with teaching stress, intonation, pitch, juncture, pitch, P-I-T-C-H, pitch, P-I-T-C-H, stress, intonation, pitch, juncture, rhythm, anything that's not related to the individual phonemes. Pitch, juncture, elision, l'idgham, okay? All these features are addressed in the supra-segmental features. Not related to the individual phonemes. So if you are teaching the individual phonemes, you are stressing what? Segmental features. If you are not stressing the individual phonemes, if you are teaching words, word stress, intonation, supra-segmental. Okay? Understand? So there are some techniques for teaching this side and the other techniques for the other side. One technique for teaching segmental features is say the sound in isolation. Say the sound in isolation. So if I'm going, for example, as I told you before, to teach you the difference between these two phonemes, I say this is I and this is This is I and this is I. So one technique is to introduce the phoneme in isolation. Say the phoneme in isolation. This one, with a puff of air. And this one, with no air. So I'm using here a technique called introducing the phoneme in isolation. Okay? So how do you say this sound? This phoneme? I. And this one? This is, okay? This is this is and this is I. Okay? Again, So we have sit, we have set, we have sat. We have the p and the b. These are very difficult for Egyptian learners. This one. This is very, very difficult for most of you. Until now, many of you cannot say the p correctly apart from discriminating the sounds. So you might be able to say the p correctly, but when you hear a word, you cannot, you are not sure whether it's this p or this p. So one technique is to say the sound in isolation. Another technique is to use the sound in words, as I did. Use the sound in words. Okay? Use the sound in words. A third technique is to explain how the sound is produced in the mouth. How the sound is produced in the mouth. So, as how the sound, the phoneme means what? Sound, individual sound. How the phoneme is produced in the mouth. Because most of the phonemes are produced where? Where are the phonemes produced? In the mouth. Where do we have some phonemes produced through the nose? Which what? What is the phoneme which is produced through the nose? Nasal N. Only. Milk. String. When you say this word, for example, you say sing. You don't say sing. No. Sing. She sings beautifully. She sings. So the air comes out of the nose. When you say the or thing. So if the N is followed by a K or a J, we call the sound nasal N. And where do we produce it? From the nose. Thing, sing. Okay? So the difference between this word, for example, we say sin, but this is sing, sing. We say it with غنة. عارفين الغنة في القرآن؟ غنة. This is غنة. Sing. Okay? So number 3, we explain to our students how the sound is produced in the oral cavity or in the nasal cavity. This is called oral cavity. And this is nasal cavity. Okay? So we explain to our students how the sound is produced either in the mouth, oral cavity, or in the nose, nasal cavity. Understand? So a th, for example, the th in English, how do you say that th? Th, how do you say it? The tongue is placed between the upper and the lower teeth. So this is how the sound is produced. Th, th. Okay? So we explain to our students how the sound is produced. A fourth technique, which we explained before, which is very popular, guess what will be? A fourth technique, minimal pairs. So minimal pairs are also important when we introduce segmental features or suprasegmental features. Segmental features. So basically we have 4 different techniques to teach the segmental features. What are they? Say the sound alone. Say the sound in a word. Explain how the sound is produced in the mouth. Minimal pairs. This is if we are explaining the segmental, or if we are teaching the segmental features of the language. And with segmental features we said, what do we mean by segmental features? Consonants and vowels. And what's the difference between consonants and vowels? Can tell me. We said this last time. What's the main difference between consonants and vowels? Come on. Yes, what's the main difference between consonants and why do we call these consonants and we call these vowels? You haven't studied phonetics at all? No. How did you graduate then? Marwa. No, thank you. How many vowels do you have in English? How many consonants? 21. Okay, what's the main difference between consonants and vowels? You are close. You are close, but your expression needs a little bit correction. Good. The difference lies in the word obstruction. Obstruction. When we produce the vowels, there is no obstruction. There is no obstruction in the oral cavity. When we produce the vowels, there is no obstruction in the oral cavity. I say until the air runs out of my lungs. There is no obstruction. What's obstruction in Arabic? Yes, i'ata. Something stops the sound. Nothing stops the sound when we say the vowel. E. Nothing stops it. Ooh. Nothing stops it. But when I say beh, what happens? The lips stops the sound. Fe. The teeth stops the sound. Le. The tongue stops the sound. So stops means obstructs. Okay? So the word obstruct, do you know, if those of you, especially young men, when you play football and you obstruct somebody, what do you get? A foul. Because you obstruct. You put your leg in front of the player when he runs and you cause him to drip off, then the referee will give you a yellow card, or maybe he will kick you out because you obstruct him. Obstruction means you stop him from doing something. So the word obstruction is the magic difference between vowels and consonants. So whenever we teach the vowel, we should stress that the vowels are produced with no obstruction of the air. But consonants are produced with some sort of obstruction, whether by the teeth, the tongue, the lips, the oral cavity, whatever. Understand? So we have almost 4 techniques when we teach the segmental feature. And by segmental features, we mean what? Vowels and consonants. And you know now what's the difference between vowel and consonant. Okay? The suprasegmental features, the most important feature in the suprasegmental feature is stress. The most important suprasegmental feature in this category is stress. And what does stress refer to? What do you mean by stress? The loudness of the sound in a particular syllable. the loudness of the sound in a particular. Where do I raise my voice when I say this word? Do I raise it in the beginning, the first, or the second, or the third, whenever? So, and this causes a problem because of the interference of mother tongue. So we have a problem of the stress, especially because of the interference of the mother tongue. In Arabic we said the stress is on the last syllable. In English, usually or generally the stress is on the first syllable. But there are some exceptions. So we have two choices here when we teach the stress. We can teach the stress as rules. We can teach the stress as rules. What's a rule? What is a rule? What's a rule in Arabic? Qaida. What's a rule in English? A statement that governs linguistic behavior. A statement that governs linguistic behavior. A statement that governs linguistic behavior. Suluk al-lugwi, a statement that so it tells us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So this statement guides the linguistic behavior of the learner. So a rule is, what's a rule? A statement, it's a statement. What's a statement in Arabic? Jumla. Yes, jumla. A rule is a statement that, jumla khabariyya, a statement that guides or governs the linguistic behavior of the learner. So we can either, when we teach a rule, we can either use inductive or deductive methods. Okay? So when we teach a rule, we can use either inductive or deductive methods of teaching the rule. Whenever you hear the word rule, you should remember inductive or deductive. So if I write down here some words, as we did last time, if I write these 10 words or 5 words, and I say present, object, subject, comment, produce. So what do you notice here? The stress is on the first syllable. So, and how many syllables does each word have? 2. So what's the rule here? Who can tell me the rule? Formulate a statement that governs this linguistic behavior. Words which are made of what? 2 syllables receive the stress on the first syllable if they are nouns. Who can say this rule again? Yes?
Words that make up of 2 syllables, they receive the first syllable when they are nouns.
Very good. Okay, the other one, who can formulate the rule for the other one? So it's present, object, subject, comment, to comment. Can you comment on this topic? Comment. But this is, that's a nice comment. That's a nice comment you made. I like the comment you made. But this is, can you comment on this topic? Comment. This is verb. Produce. This is produce. This is produce. So what's the rule here? Yes. What's your name? No. What's your name? Summer.
We can make stress on the second syllable
Give me a statement. Words which are made up of 2 syllables receive the stress on the second syllable if they are verbs. Again, words, generally words that are made up of 2 syllables receive the stress on the second syllable if they are verbs. If they are verbs, okay? If they are verbs. And then we can use these, for example. Okay, how do we say this is a noun? Noun. Export. Export. How do you say this as a verb? Import. Import. So here we can introduce the syllable through either the inductive or deductive. Inductive, you write the examples and they come up with the rule. Or deductive, I can tell you the rule. Generally speaking, words in English receive the stress on the first syllable. This is a rule. Thank you, Summer. Sit down. Generally speaking, this is a rule. Generally speaking, if you have an English word and you want to place the stress, place it on the first syllable. So a word like this would be what? English. Where is the stress? On the first syllable. So most of the English words receive the stress on the first syllable. A word like this. Doctor. Doctor. What is the stress? First syllable. So most of the English, unless there are some exceptions, and you will read the exceptions to the rule. Exceptions to the rule. Word, for example, words which end in IC receive the stress on the syllable before the last. TION, SION, and IC also. So if I say this word, where is the stress here? How many syllables does this word have? 3. What are they? Historic. 3 syllables. Where is the stress here? On the second, this one. Historic. So I say historic. Historic. Not historic or historic. 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 This is a historic event. Okay? The word, for example, this one, many of you say it in the wrong way. The stress here is on the second syllable. This is an exception. Event. Event. Not event. There is no event. It's event. Okay? The events of the Middle East are occurring very rapidly. Events. So the word event, the stress is on word, which syllable? Second syllable. There are some exceptions. So when it comes to stress, usually we use inductive or deductive methods of teaching rules. And I told you, whenever you hear the word rule, automatically you remember inductive or deductive. Understand? Great. The second most important suprasegmental is the intonation. Before we move to the intonation, I would like to remind you that we have in English, we have word stress, and we have also what? Sentence stress. We have 2 types of stresses. Word stress and sentence stress. Okay? I told you this probably last time. I said in word stress, there are some rules. As we said, and the rule is, what's the general rule of the word stress? We place the stress on the first syllable, generally. Okay? And there are some exceptions, we should know them. But in the sentence stress, we usually place the stress on the content word. Remember we talked about function words and content words when we were teaching vocabulary. You remember? And I told you that when we teach function words, what is the best time to teach function words? You forgot. what is the ideal time to introduce function words? In what classes? Yes? No? Yes? Huh? In grammar. In grammar lessons. We introduce function words in grammar lessons. Function words like what? Prepositions, conjunctions, articles, auxiliaries, modals, pronouns. All these are function words. Usually we introduce the function words in grammar lessons. The content words, we introduce them every day. Whenever you teach listening, speaking, or reading, or writing, you introduce the content words. You don't introduce the function words as everyday language. The everyday language is presented, yes, under the umbrella of content words. Understand? So whenever you read the sentence, don't place the stress on function words. Usually place the stress on content words. That's why a sentence like this, Ali is reading a very interesting book. How many function words do we have in this sentence? How many function words do we have in this sentence? Two. One, two. So whenever we read this sentence, we say is and a in a very low voice. I say Ali is reading a very interesting book. Ali is reading a very interesting book. So you hear only Ali reading interesting book. You don't hear is or you don't hear a, because we don't place stress on the function words. That's why whenever you hear American people talking on the movies, in a film or something, you say they eat up words, right? بياكلوا الكلام. They don't. Yes, what do? They don't stress every word as we do in Arabic. In Arabic, we tend to stress almost every word. Okay? أصدر المجلس العسكري حكما. أصدر المجلس العسكري حكما. We stress every word. But in English, they stress only the content words. And the content words here, Ali, reading, interesting book, very also is a content word. But sometimes adverbs are not stressed, especially the word very, because very tends to be more a function word than a content word. So whenever we teach stress, we should emphasize that our students should not stress every word they read. Okay? I say Ali is a good student. Ali is a good student. Ali is a good student. I don't say Ali is a good student. I don't read this way. If you read this way, then you have something missing in your competence. You need to develop yourself in terms of stress. Okay? Back to the intonation. What do we mean by intonation? What's intonation? Tangheen. This is in Arabic. In English. Good, huh? The varying tone of your voice, this is in stress. You are close. The fall and rise of speech during speaking. The fall and rise of speech during talking. The fall, intonation means the fall and rise of speech during talking or reading. How many levels of intonation do we have in English? 3. I heard somebody saying 3, but he or she was not sure. We have 3 levels of intonation in Arabic. The same as we have in English. We have 3 in English and we have 3 in Arabic. Okay? So intonation patterns are not the same, but the number of intonation patterns in English is the same as in Arabic, but they are not the same. Look at this sentence. How many function words do we have in this sentence? 2. So percentage-wise, what's the percentage of function words in this sentence? 50%. 50% of this sentence is function words. So I can say this sentence in 3 different intonation patterns. I told you before that English is not a phonetic language. Remember this? English is not a phonetic language, but English is a musical language. Although English is not a phonetic language, but English is a musical language. By musical language, we mean that we can change the type of sentence through only changing the pattern of intonation. In English, again, English is a musical language. By musical languages, we mean that the intonation pattern we use can change the meaning of the sentence and the type of the sentence. How many types of sentence do we have? 6? 6? How many types of sentences do we have? 3? And more. No, not this way. This is from a grammatical point of view. We have affirmative and negative. Okay? We have affirmative and negative. We have interrogative. You know interrogative? Question. We have exclamatory sentences. So we have 4. Negative, affirmative, interrogative, and exclamatory. Okay? Oh my God. This is a what? Exclamatory. Okay? What a beautiful day today. It's a Mother's Day. What a beautiful day today. It's very beautiful, by the way, because it's Mother's Day. Spring starts today. That's why it's beautiful. In spring, everything is beautiful. So anyway, so listen to this. When I say, he is a man, he is a man, here, is this a statement, affirmative, or what? He is a man? Interrogative. This is an interrogative. He is a man. He is walking in a strange way, and he has earrings and a necklace, and his hair is very long, and I say, he is a man? So this is interrogative sentence. Although I didn't say, is he a man? I said, he is a man? He is a man? بالذمة ده راجل? Yes. So, just بالذمة ده راجل? He is a man? This is a question. He is a man? He is a man? He's a man? Interrogative. Can you write interrogative? Yes. Really? So come and spell it here. Come and write it here. Okay, no problem, it's not correct. Interrogative. Why is your handwriting going uphill or upstairs? Going upstairs. Interrogative. Okay? Interrogative. Back. So I can say, he is a man. This is an interrogative sentence. If I say, he is a man. He is a man. This is affirmative. Okay? And if I say, he is a man. he is a man. Means what? He is really a man. You can trust him, you can rely on him. If I say, he is a man, or he is a man. He is a man? So I can say the sentence in 3 different patterns of intonation, and which one has a different meaning. Because intonation patterns affect the meaning in English. We have 3 intonation patterns. What are they? Who can tell me what these intonation patterns are? High, low, and level. So we have 3 intonation patterns. High, low, and level. The level sentence, by the way, this is purely phonetic. Now I'm talking phonetics. When we teach intonation, usually we teach intonation through either using our hands. Is he a man? Is he a man? So we go from down up. This is called high intonation pattern. Question, yes or no question. So we can use your hand gestures, or you can use arrows to express the direction of the intonation pattern. You can use this arrow to show that it's high intonation pattern, or low intonation pattern, or level intonation pattern. What I want you to do as an assignment, because I feel that this is the first time these things are discussed, please go to the internet and write intonation patterns in English. Intonation patterns in English. And you will be surprised to learn that there are some sites that are audio in nature. You can listen to them and teach yourself the level intonation, how it goes, the high intonation or the low intonation pattern, how it goes. Usually we use either arrows or we use hand gestures to show the intonation pattern. Okay? Understand? No. We haven't discussed the grammar. It's 20 to 2 and we still haven't discussed grammar. Any questions so far? Yes, level, you say it in an affirmative sentence. In affirmative sentence, but it has a completion. He goes to school to learn, but he goes to school to learn, but he doesn't like it. This is a level. But if I say, what's your name? What's your name? This is a high. Okay? This is a high. Hello, is your name Ali? Is your name Ali? Yes or no question is low pattern. Yes or no? Is your name Muhammad? This is a low pattern. But what's your name? This is a high pattern. Sentence, affirmative and long sentences, usually level. Okay? Affirmative sentences, long sentences, usually level intonation. Let's move to the next part, which is teaching grammar. And I would like to remind you once, and I said it many times, there is no what in grammar? E. Please don't misspell the word grammar. You will lose 5 points if you misspell the word grammar when you write. So there is no E in the word grammar. It's all what? A's. Okay? Grammar has 2 A's. G-R-A-M-M-A-R. Okay, whenever we hear the word grammar, we directly go to the word what? Rules. Grammar means rules. And I just gave you the definition of rule, right? What's a rule? Again, a statement that guides or governs linguistic behavior of the learner. Okay? It says what should we do and what what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Okay, so how many types of rules do we have? How many types of rules in a language? How many types? And give me examples of each one. How many types of rules do we have? Rules of language, how many types? Yes. 3 rules. Okay, what are they? No. These are methods of teaching rules. Okay? Deductive or inductive are methods of teaching rules. How do you teach rules? Either give them examples and they will find out the rules. This is inductive. Or I will give them the rule and they will apply the rule onto the examples. This is deductive. Okay? What we are talking about, irrelevant. Yes. 2 types. What are they? Tenses. Tense is not a rule. No, types of rules. What? No, you are thinking of something very different. Yes, at the very back. No. How many branches of language do we have? Yes, syntax. So we have syntactical rules. Morphology, we have morphological rules. Phonology, we have phonological rules. And lexical rules. So we have 4 types of rules. Lexical rules, morphological rules, syntactical rules, phonological rules. Understand? So how many? We have even a 5th type, which is called pragmatic rules. And this is in sociolinguistics. I don't know whether you study sociolinguistics or not. You study sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics deal with pragmatics of the language. And we have pragmatic rules. What to say and what not to say in different situations. This is called pragmatic rules. For example, I cannot go to a funeral and tell them congratulations. Can I do that? Why? Because of the pragmatic rules of the language. I cannot do that. I cannot go to a funeral and laugh partly or tell a joke. This is against the pragmatic rules of the language. Okay? So, but let's be confined with the 4 rules: morphological, lexical, phonological, syntactical. And whenever you think of or hear the word rule, you know how do we teach rules? Deductive or inductive? So whenever you have a rule, you decide, do I give my students examples and they will find the rule themselves, or I give them the rule and they will apply it on the examples. Okay? So, okay. Now, give me a syntactical rule. An example of a syntactical rule. What's syntax in Arabic? Na. So give me a syntactical rule in English. What did you study in the College of Arts? You buy the books and you pass. No, you will not do this here. I promise. Whether you buy the book or not, you have to answer correctly to pass. If they do this there, we don't do this here. At least in my course. Yes, Maru, give me an example of a syntactical rule. Very good. The word order of the English sentence. Very good. The English sentence starts with the subject plus predicate. So this is a rule. In English, we form the sentence by subject plus predicate. So this is a rule. So we can either give some example to the students and ask them what is the word order? They will say it's subject plus verb plus complement. It's subject plus verb. So we tell them that in English, the English sentence is made up of subject plus predicate. Okay? So what's the word order in English? Subject plus predicate. What's subject in Arabic? Or mubtada. Okay? And predicate? And the predicate consists of verb plus complement or verb only. Can you give me a sentence that has subject and the verb and that's it? I eat. Okay. Birds fly. Birds fly. This is subject and predicate, and the predicate only is a verb. Fire, earth moves. The earth moves. Okay. Fire burns. Fire burns. Subject and verb. So anyway, if we are going to give examples of a syntactical rule, this is an example of a syntactical rule. What's another example of a syntactical rule? A syntactical rule. This is a structure. Okay? This is what you said is a structure. What's an example of a syntactical rule? Third subject singular tends to have an S in the present simple tense. This is a syntactical rule. Third person subject tends to have an S if the sentence is in the present simple tense. So I cannot say Ali eat too much. I have to say Ali eats too much. Good. A structure is a manifestation of a rule. Okay? A structure is a manifestation of a rule. What's a manifestation? To show how the rule works. So an example to show how the rule works is the statement that you said. So when I say Ali speaks English well, this is a statement. Yes, and it shows a syntactical rule. And the rule is what? What did I say about this rule? Third person singular tends to have an S in the present simple tense. The verb of the third person singular tends to take an S if the sentence is in the present simple tense. This is a syntactical rule. And the manifestation of the rule is shown in the simple. Another rule. There is followed by is or are plus singular or plural. So this is again, there is a boy outside. There are 3 students absent. This is an example of the rule. So when we say a structure means a presentation or a manifestation of the rule. This is syntactical rule. Give me an example of a morphological rule. Morphological rule. قاعدة صرفية في الإنجليزي. قاعدة صرفية في الإنجليزي. Yes. Adding suffixes and prefixes. If you add ment to the verb, you change it to a noun. So govern becomes government. Manage becomes management. So you can add ment or tion to the verb to change it to noun. So this is a morphological rule. Adding en to some adjectives to change them to verbs. Large, enlarge. Okay? Danger, endanger, and so on. So these are, again, morphological rules. Phonological rules. Give me an example of a phonological rule. An example of phonological rule. Yes. Double the letter doesn't mean double the sound. Good. Another rule. Another rule. Yes. ING, the sound of the ING is nasal N. Good. The sound of the ING at the end of the word is the nasal sound N. You have a very important phonological rule that you all are familiar with. How do we pronounce the ED marker or the plural S at the end of the word? The ED, how many variations for the ED do we have? 3. We can say the ED as te, we can say it as de, and we can say it as it. Talk becomes what? Talked. Move becomes what? Moved. Want becomes what? Wanted. There is a rule for this. Who can tell me the rule that governs this? When do we say the ED as te, and when we say it as de, and when we say it as it? Who can state the rule? You studied this. Yes, you studied this. Somebody is writing me a paper, and I think it's enough for today. Maybe they are asking me, why did you say it tends to take an S, not a S? Thank you for saying this. Because I say an S. How do you say the letter S? What's the first sound of the letter S? E. So we say an S because the letter S is made of 2 sounds. S, E, and se. And the E is a vowel. So we say an S. We don't say a S. No, we don't say a S. I think we'll stop at this point, and I want you to read the chapter about grammar. There is a rule for this. What if the verb ends in a voiceless sound, the ED will be pronounced as de. If the verb ends in a voiceless sound, like for example ke, or pe, or she, or che. Okay? So if the verb ends in one of these these are voiceless sounds, and we add ed, the ed becomes te. So we say talk, we say what? Talked. Stop, stopped. We don't say stop it. No, stop. We say push, pushed. He pushed me, pushed. Check. Watch, watch television, watched. We say watched. We don't say watch it. No. So if the last sound in the verb is voiceless and we add ed, the ed is pronounced as te. This is the rule. Understand? But if it is voiced, it becomes te. And the te or the de doesn't create a new syllable. Notice this. When we say watched, how many syllables does the word watched have? How many syllables does the word watched have? No. How many syllables? Watched. One. Because this ED becomes T. So how many vowel sounds do we have in the word? One. A. Watched. One syllable. Understand? Push. How many syllables? One. Push. One syllable. The voiceless sound is very simple. When you produce the voiceless sounds, the vocal cords don't vibrate. There is no noise when we say. There is no noise. The vocal cords don't vibrate. The counterpart for the K is what? K. See? K. You hear noise. K. K. But the vocal cords don't vibrate. Here. The vocal cords don't vibrate. But the vocal cords vibrate. Here. The vocal cords don't vibrate. But the vocal cords vibrate. Okay? The vocal cords here. If they vibrate, they produce voiced sound. If they don't vibrate, they produce voiceless sound. Okay? We will continue next week. Of course, we will not, maybe after the exam.